Hello, I'm from the UVA Information Security Team, and I'm here to talk about the importance of maintaining best practices when it comes to passwords. If things go as planned, we'll say goodbye to the classic password 123 exclam by the end of our time together. Let's get started. Security is everyone's responsibility. I'm sure you've heard that statement before, and it's true. It's impossible for any single department, individual, or technology to defend against the various attacks we encounter as an organization. It is necessary for everyone to play their part to help. However, with daily reports of security breaches, scams, and code failures, it's difficult to stay on top of it all. How can we fulfill our role in maintaining the university's security while managing the responsibilities of our regular full-time workload? Don't worry, you don't have to have a second career in information security to be a big part of the solution. You can help to keep UVA secure by being proactive in these 5 areas: passwords, multi factor authentication, phishing, anti malware, updates, and patches. Strong passwords are our first line of defense against cyber criminals. So, passwords seems like a good place to start on our path to keeping UVA secure. Let's dive into some jaw dropping password stats. If any of these ring a bell, don't fret. You're not alone. No need to make any confessions here. It's a judgment free zone. 57% of workers write down passwords on sticky notes. 34% share passwords with colleagues in the same group. 44% of workers reuse passwords across personal and work related accounts. 80% of hacking incidents are caused by stolen and reused login information. Other than just picking up the keyboard and reading them off the post it notes underneath, passwords can be compromised in many other ways. Here are 3 common attack types. The first is brute force attacks. This is when a criminal uses automated scripts to run common passwords or phrases until they find one that works. The computer programs used by threat actors during brute force attacks can guess between 10,000 and, with a supercomputer, 1 billion passwords per second. All it takes is one correct guess, and all the accounts that use that same password could easily become compromised as well. Another common form of attack is credential stuffing. Attackers use lists of previously compromised credentials to find one that has been reused for a targeted account. There are countless numbers of leaked passwords available for sale to criminals on the dark web. The last type of common attack we will discuss today is man in the middle attacks. This is when an attacker gains access to a poorly secured public Wi Fi router, then intercepts and reads the victim's transmitted data, including passwords. We won't discuss this one more in the presentation, so I'll pause a moment to say that this is why it is so important to remember to browse safely on public Wi Fi, like those in hotels or coffee shops. One way to do that is to connect to the UVA Anywhere virtual private network. It provides an additional layer of protection by encrypting your information. The bad guys would love to get access to our passwords. Other than making sure we use protected Wi Fi access, what else can we do to prevent them from succeeding? Let's walk through some password management best practices. First, make each password you create long and complex. The university has specific password requirements. Passwords cannot be shorter than 12 characters, and they are required to have a minimum of 3 letters. They should also include at least 3 out of 4 of the following: an uppercase, a lowercase, a number, a special character. The longer and more complex a password is, the more difficult it is to crack. Let's take a look at this chart. UVA requires at least 12 characters. If that includes numbers only, it can be cracked by a computer in 2 seconds. If it includes only lowercase letters, it could take 2 days. However, as we continue to increase the complexity, creating passwords with uppercase and lowercase letters, the time to crack jumps up to 24 years. But wait, add numbers to that and it becomes 200 years. If we add special characters and create a password, like the one at the bottom of the screen, it could take 3,000 years to crack. And it gets even better as we keep the complexity and make them even longer. So we're convinced long, complex passwords are safest. But how does that work in real life where we have to be able to remember those passwords? We recommend university account holders use a passphrase. It can be a short sentence or group of random words that mean something to you and is easy to remember. The strength in a passphrase comes from its length. Passphrases, in general, are naturally longer than passwords. However, you should avoid lines in very popular songs or other easy to guess passphrases. We'll talk more about that later. By following university requirements, by adding capital letters, numbers, and special characters, your passphrase becomes even stronger. If you need help creating a passphrase you can remember, try going through an exercise like this. Ask yourself some questions and then use the answers to craft a strong, unique passphrase. How many books do you own? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite zoo animal? What is your favorite activity to do? What country would you like to visit? And then add a special character. I like to create a picture in my head to go along with my passphrase. It helps me remember it more easily. 28 characters with numbers, upper and lowercase letters, and symbols. This would take more than 77 million years to crack, and it's easy to remember. Now, you have a perfect passphrase. Let's discuss number 3. Use a different passphrase for each account. That way, if one account is compromised, the others remain secure. Remember, hackers have published as many as 555 million stolen passwords on the dark web since 2017. It's particularly important that you never reuse your UVA password for a non UVA account like Amazon or Facebook. Wait a minute, you say. I'm supposed to have a strong, long, unique passphrase for all of my accounts? That would be impossible to keep up with, especially since it isn't safe to write them all down or save them to the notes on my phone. You are absolutely correct, especially considering that many Americans have more than 80 different accounts with passwords to keep up with. That's why we recommend you consider using a password manager to help you keep track of all of your passwords securely and efficiently. With a password manager, you create and remember one strong passphrase for the password manager, and then it does the rest of the work for you. It can remember an endless number of complex, unique passwords and even autofill them for you. I know, like me, you are too busy to remember 80 different passphrases. LastPass is a password manager available to all UVA account holders for free on an annual basis. It can be installed and used across all of your devices. Number 4 is keep passwords a secret. Never share your passwords with anyone, including a supervisor. Most passwords are shared accidentally as a result of a phishing scam. Be cautious that you aren't tricked into sharing your passwords with malicious actors. Never reply to an email asking for your password, and only enter your UVA password on sites known to be associated with UVA. Another way to keep passwords a secret is to make them hard to guess. Avoid using common words or personal information, like your birthday or your cat's name, in your passwords. This makes it harder for the bad guys to guess your credentials. UVA password requirements prevent the use of easily guessable words, such as your legal first or last name or preferred first or last name. It also prevents the use of your computing ID. Speaking of easily guessable words, we have also created a custom dictionary of excluded words. These are highly guessable words related to the University of Virginia, like cavalier or whose. Disallowing these highly guessable, common words ensures users create stronger, less breakable passphrases that can stay secret. I'm sneaking this one in. Although they aren't passwords, a great backup to a password is the use of a multi factor authentication tool. We recommend that you enable MFA wherever possible. This adds an extra layer of security, requiring you to verify your identity using a second factor, such as a text message or authentication app. The university utilizes the multi-factor authentication application Duo. It has been built into NetBadge. Anything behind NetBadge now has multi-factor authentication, increasing its security. Be wary if you get a push from Duo. Pause for a moment to verify that you did, in fact, solicit a push from the MFA. An unsolicited push could mean that a malicious actor has gotten your password and is trying to gain access to your account. Fortunately, the two-step login is in place, providing another safeguard. If you are not actively trying to log in when you get a request from Duo, you should reject it, protecting your account and perhaps others as well. Multi-factor authentication is a great tool, but it's only as strong as the user on the other end. It is important to be aware of Duo fatigue. If an adversary has stolen a valid username and password, each time they attempt to log in, the owner of the credentials gets an MFA request. Is this you trying to log in? Most users will ignore or deny an MFA request if they are not trying to sign in. However, because many users are so familiar with the process of accepting a push request, MFA fatigue might lead them to absent-mindedly or accidentally hit the accept button without pausing to validate the request. From there, the attacker has the freedom to roam the university's internal resources. Additionally, there are some MFA attacks that can be even more burdensome to the end user. In a push phishing attack, also known as push bombing or push harassment, the attacker sends MFA requests repeatedly until the authentic user caves and accepts the request just to stop the bombardment of push notifications. Finally, if you fear your password has been compromised, change it right away following the directions on the UVA website and report it to it-security at virginia.edu. By following these password management best practices, you'll be playing a vital role in protecting the university and its data. Remember, robust password management combined with MFA can make a world of difference in keeping our digital workspace safe and secure. Thanks for listening.